Good morning.
Good morning.
In East Asian Buddhist countries like China, Korea, and Japan, we celebrate Buddha's Enlightenment Day on December 8th. So we have the ceremony for Buddha's Enlightenment on Sundays close to December 8th. Last Sunday was 8th, but that was the last day of the Rohat session, so we couldn't do that. Actually, Rohat session is a kind of practice to express our gratitude to Buddha's enlightenment. So Rohat session and Buddha's Enlightenment Day is closely connected. Anyway, 2 years ago on this day, when we had a ceremony, I introduced the story about Buddha's enlightenment. What happened to Buddha when he was sitting under the Bodhi tree. He in that story, he fought against Mara. Mara was a heavenly demon, and he had a lot of power and even armies. And the Mara attacked Shakyamuni when he was sitting. But in that story, Shakyamuni conquered the Mara. That was the story from Jataka collections. And at that time, I mentioned that according to Nagarjuna, one of the most important Mahayana master, the Mara is not really the demon or heavenly demon, someone separate from Shakyamuni. But Nagarjuna said the demon or Mara is 5 skandhas, means Buddha's 5 skandhas. And that was very interesting to me. And that saying by Nagarjuna was quoted by Dogen in Shobogenzo Hotsupo Daishin. So that was also Dogen's understanding what was Mara. And Mara is 5 skandhas. And at that time, since then, I have been studying about Shakyamuni's teaching about 5 skandhas, and I found many interesting things. 5 skandhas, or 5 aggregates in English, it's also called 5 or pancha. Pancha means 5 in Sanskrit or Pali. Upadana, skandha. And 5, upadana means clinging or attachment. And skandhas is elements or aggregates. And in the Buddhist teachings, this pancha upadana skandhas is Mara. So that means this is 5 skandhas. 5 skandhas means our body and mind. And somehow, these 5 skandhas attach themselves to 5 skandhas. Then that is called upadana skandhas. Then that 5 skandhas, 5 upadana skandhas are Mara. Or I don't know, are or is. Is it 5 separate things or one thing? I'm not sure. Anyway, so I thought that was Mahayana interpretation of Buddha's enlightenment, what happened to Buddha. And Buddha was released from this clinging to 5 skandhas. And this time I'm studying about the Buddha's teaching on 5 skandhas. And This is the English translation of Samyutta Nikaya. This is from Pali Nikaya. And part 3 of this big book that has about more than 200 pages is about skandhas. So there are many short suttas that Buddha taught about 5 skandhas. And I found very interesting, actually 2 interesting suttas. So I'd like to introduce what Buddha taught. Actually, Buddha talks about Mara. What is Mara? And this appeared in chapter 2 of part 3. And the name of the sutta is Radha Samyutta. Radha. Radha is person's name, Buddha's disciple. And it seems he was very close disciple of Buddha. And according to Japanese commentary, he used to be Buddha's personal attendant, probably before Ananda. So he was a very close disciple of Buddha, and he often talked with Buddha. And I think about 50 conversation dialogue between Buddha and Radha is recorded in this book. Anyway, the first one, first conversation between Radha and Buddha. And the title of this short sutta is Mara. At Sabbati, and if we want to check this text, it appears page 984. This is the Connected Discourses of the Buddha, a new translation of Samyutta Nikaya, and this is volume 1. There are another volume, same size. So this is has 2,000 pages. Anyway, the sutta says, at Sabbati, then the Venerable Radha approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side, and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said, Mara, in what way Venerable Sir might Mara be? So what is Mara is like? Is his question. Then Buddha answered to him, when there is form is first of the 5 skandhas. When there is form, there might be Mara, or the killer. So the word in the Indian word Mara means killer. Or the one who is killed. That means the form is the one who is killed. So Mara kill, and that Mara that is killing is 5 skandhas, and what is killed is also 5 skandhas. This is really interesting. Therefore, Radha, see form or rupa as Mara. See it as the killer. See it as the one who is killed. See it as a disease, sickness, as a tumor, something wrong, as a dart. What is dart? D-A-R-T.
Oh, like
Dart,
an arrow.
in Japanese translation, this is like a thorn.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing?
Yeah, you throw it.
Okay. So, an instrument to kill.
Yeah.
that as misery, as real misery. Those who see it thus see rightly. So this is a right view or right understanding that form is Mara. And he repeat about 4 other skandhas. Feeling, when there is feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. Buddha said the same thing about those 5 skandhas. Rather, there might be Mara or the killer or the one who is killed. Therefore, rather, see consciousness as Mara. See it as a killer. See it as the one who is killed. See it as a disease, as a tumor, as a doubt, as misery, as real misery. Those who see it thus see rightly. So he's basically what he's saying, 5 skandhas are Mara. So until I read this, I found this yesterday. Until then, I think the 5 skandhas are Mara was Nagarjuna's interpretation, but that is actually what Buddha said. 5 skandhas, that means our body and mind. Mara is not something outside of ourselves or outside of Buddha himself, but 5 skandhas are Mara. When there is upadana, clinging or attachment. And the rest of the conversation is a kind of interesting. Then Radha asked, Fat Venerable Sir, what is the purpose of seeing rightly? What is the purpose? Why we have to see rightly? Then the purpose of seeing rightly is revolution. REVULSION. I don't know this English word, but Japanese translation is only. Only means dislike and depart, or separate, or apart from it. So that means to see rightly or correctly is to see something wrong or not wholesome. Then we separate keep ourselves away from those things. But in this case, 5 skandhas. Then, what is the purpose of revolution? Then Buddha's answer is the purpose of revolution is pardon?
Revulsion.
Revolution.
Revolution is different.
I know. Is dispassion. Dispassion. In Japanese, this is translated as ridon. Don or ton means lead to depart or separate. From ton is greed. When we separate, we separate from 5 skandhas. Then we can be released from greed to those things, those 5 skandhas, and also the object of the 5 skandhas. And dispassion. Then I like this person. He asked again, what is the purpose of dispassion? Then Buddha said, liberation or emancipation. And what is the purpose of liberation? Then Buddha said, the purpose of liberation is nirvana, or nibbana in Pali, nibbana. Then he asked again, what is the purpose of nirvana? Then Buddha said, you have gone beyond the range of questioning. Don't ask anymore. Then Buddha continued, you weren't able to grasp the limit to questioning. For Radha, the holy life is lived with Nibbana or Nirvana as its ground. Nirvana as its destination. Nibbana as its final goal. So Nirvana is final goal or the ground. So Nirvana is not good for something else, but Nirvana is a final thing. So we cannot ask what is Nirvana for. And in the footnote, not footnote, in the note of this saying, this conversation about Nirvana, there is one not Sanskrit, Pali expression that is upadana nibbana. This upadana is same upadana. So is same like an in English, or non, or not upadana nirvana. So nirvana is a condition, not a condition. Nirvana is being without upadana. So if 5 skandhas are simply 5 skandhas without upadana, that is clinging or attachment. This upadana is the 9th of the 12 links of causation. Because of upadana, we have clinging to certain things. We have preference and chasing after something we want, or we escape from something we don't want. That create our life into samsara. So if we don't have upadana, or if we are liberated from upadana, then 5 skandhas are simply 5 skandhas, and that is nirvana. This is very simple logic, I think, and very clear. So, Buddha's enlightenment from these teachings is Buddha became free from self-attachment to his own 5 skandhas. And next sutta, short sutta, is about being. Being is same as a living being, or shujo, like us. So the same person, Radha, asked Buddha, Venerable Sir, it is said a being. In what way is one called a being? Why we are called being or living beings? That means not Buddha. Then Buddha answered, one is stuck tightly, stuck in desire, lust, L-U-S-T, lust, delight, and craving for form. Again, the first of the 5 skandhas. Therefore, one is called a being or living being. So we are stuck on the form and the other 4 skandhas. That's why we are called living beings. That means living beings transmigrating within samsara. One is stuck tightly stuck in desire, lust, delight, and craving for feeling, for perception, for volitional formations, for consciousness. Therefore, one is called a being, living beings. Then Buddha says, suppose some little boys and girls or girls are playing with sand castles. So long as they are not devoid of lust, desire, affection, thirst, passion, and craving for those sand castles. So those boys and girls are playing on the beach, probably on the beach, and making the sand castle, and they attach themselves to their work. So the sand castle is very important for those children. They cherish them, play with them, treasure them, and treat them possessively. So this sand castle are our 5 skandhas in our case. But when those little boys or girls lose their lust, desire, affection, thirst, passion, and craving for those sand castles, then they scatter them. They destroy the sand castles with their hands and feet. Demolish them, shatter them, and put them out of play. So they become free from their attachment to the sand castles. Buddha continues. So too, Radha, scatter from demolish it, scatter form. Demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play, Practice for the destruction of craving. Scatter feeling, scatter perception, scatter volitional formations, scatter consciousness, demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play. Practice for the destruction of craving. For the destruction of craving, Radha, is nirvana. The destruction of craving is nirvana. So I think he doesn't say we should destroy our 5 skandhas, but he's saying we should destroy our craving or clinging to 5 skandhas. And 5 skandhas are our own body and mind. So that was not Nagarjuna's interpretation, but Shakyamuni Buddha himself taught the Mara Buddha conquered was 5 skandhas, or 5 upadana skandhas. That means he's clinging to his own 5 skandhas. To me, this is really interesting and surprising. I didn't know this until yesterday. And another interesting teaching of Shakyamuni about 5 skandhas. This is from page 951. The title of this sutta is a lamp of form. Lamp, L-U-M-P, lamp of form. Not this form, but F-O-A-R-M, form. Bubble.
F-O-A.
Oh, phone. No R.
F-O-A-R-M.
No R.
F-O-A. Form. I'm sorry. I forget everything this says, and my mind doesn't work well. Anyway, so he's talking about form. And he said, form is a form. On one occasion, the blessed one was dwelling at Ayodhya on the bank of the river Ganges. There, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, and so Buddha gave a Dharma discourse to those monks. So rest of this is Buddha's teaching. This is not a conversation. Bhikkhus, suppose that this river Ganges was carrying along a great lump of foam, F-O-A-M. A man, so he was pointing the river Ganges. There are a lot of foams. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. So the form is void, hollow, insubstantial. This is a Pali Nikaya. For what substance could there be in a lump of form? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of form, in this case F-O-R-M, whatever kind of form there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a bhikkhus inspect it, ponders it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in form? So Buddha is talking about the first skandhas. A rupa, or form, is like a form, F-O-A-M, and there's no substance. It's a void, hollow, and insubstantial. There's no word, shunyata or shunya is used, but void, hollow, and insubstantial refer to emptiness. So Buddha is talking about emptiness of five skandhas. And I didn't know that until yesterday. That means, in my understanding of the teaching or history of Buddhist teaching, the Mahayana Buddhist first said five skandhas are empty. But according to this sutta, Buddha already said five skandhas are empty. So I have to change, deform my understanding of entire history of Buddhism. So let me continue his talk about other four skandhas. Suppose that in the autumn, when it is raining and big raindrops are falling, a water bubble arises and bursts on the surface of the water. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a water bubble? So water bubble is the example I often use to explain emptiness. So too, whatever kind of feeling, the second of the five skandhas, whatever kind of feeling there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, or whether it's good or bad, or positive or negative feeling, far or near, a big inspect it, ponders it and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in feeling? And he said, suppose that a man needing heartwood, seeking heartwood, wandering in search of heartwood, would take a sharp axe and enter a forest. There he would see the trunk of a large plantain tree or banana tree, straight, fresh, without a fruit bud core. He would cut it down at the root, cut off the crown, and unroll the coil. As he unrolls the coil, he would not find even soft wood, let alone hardwood. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it. Rest is the same. So I abbreviate. Then about the consciousness, he says, suppose that a magician or a magician's apprentice would display a magical illusion at a crossroads. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, and insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a magical illusion? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of consciousness disciple experiences revolution, same word we had, I cannot pronounce right correctly, toward form, toward feeling, toward perception, toward volitional formations, toward consciousness. Experiencing revolution, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. So basically, it's the same thing with the sutta I read. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It's liberated. He understands destroyed is birth, the holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no one for this state of being. Actually, this is what Buddha said when he attained enlightenment. So when we see, at least in this sutta, what Buddha is saying is when we see the emptiness of five skandhas, then we are liberated from ourselves or from clinging to our own five skandhas. So in that point, the Shakyamuni's teaching and Mahayana teaching like Prajnaparamita Sutras or Nagarjuna's teaching about emptiness, and also what Dogen said about his so-called enlightenment or awakening. His expression is Shinjin Datsurak. I'm sorry. Shin is body, and Jin is mind, and that is like a takeoff, and Rak is fall down. So this body and mind actually means five skandhas, and I translate this as a drop off. to drop off body and mind means to drop off 5 skandhas. So to me, what Dogen express using this phrase and what Buddha said to see the emptiness of 5 skandhas, and what the Heart Sutra says in the very first sentence of the Heart Sutra. It says, Avalokite Shivara Bodhisattva, when deeply practicing Prajna Paramita, clearly see the emptiness of 5 skandhas and relieve all sufferings. I think what the Heart Sutra says and what Buddha says in this sutta is exactly the same thing, at least to me. And that is what Dogen expressed with this kind of a unique expression, dropping off body and mind. So in these 2 suttas from Pali Nikaya, I think I see the thread between Shakyamuni's teaching, Hari Buddhist teaching, and Mahayana teaching, like Prajna Paramita and Nagarjuna. And that kind of straightforwardly continue to Dogen's core teaching about our practice. So according to Dogen, or Dogen's teacher, our zazen is dropping off body and mind. Dropping off body and mind is not certain special experience while we may attain while we are sitting. That might be one interpretation, but that is not what this is meant, because when Dogen, when he was still a training monk in Chinese monastery, he asked his teacher, Tienton Rujin or Tendo Nyojo. Actually, this person, Tendo Nyojo, was the original person who used this expression, dropping off body and mind. When Dogen was practicing with his teacher in the Chinese monastery, whenever monks slept during zazen, the abbot Rujin said, zazen is dropping off body and mind. So when he met with Rujin personally, Dogen asked Nyojo, what is dropping off body and mind? Then Nyojo said, dropping off body and mind is zazen. So to practice Zen is dropping off body and mind, and dropping off body and mind is zazen. So in our zazen, when we sit with this upright posture and breathe deeply from our abdomen and keep our eyes open and let go of whatever coming and going within our mind, that is zazen, and this is dropping off mind. And when we practice within this attitude or following Dogen's teaching, then this zazen is itself dropping off body and mind. That means in our zazen we are already liberated from clinging to our 5 skandhas. Okumura Roshi said, this posture is a posture we cannot cling to. When we sit upright posture and breathe carefully and we keep our eyes open and thoughts are coming and going, we try not to grasp them or chase after them or fight against them. We do nothing but just let them come and go. We have no control. Just let them come and go. This sitting is dropping off body and mind. So when we sit with this attitude, we are already in nirvana. And nirvana is good for nothing. as that is what Buddha said. That is the final place. So nirvana is not good for something, but nirvana is just nirvana, and there's no further question of what nirvana good for. That is so. Sagiro's teaching, that thing is good for nothing, is completely in accordance with what Buddha taught. Nirvana is good for nothing. Nirvana is good, period. Not for something else. So to me, these two stuff was very surprising or amazing, that I can see the relation or connection between Buddha's original teaching and Mahayana teaching and Dogen's teaching and what we do today. Well, it's already 11. So during the Rohat session, we really sat 7 days, 14 periods a day, and just facing the wall. That was good for nothing. And that was, according to my understanding, that was what actually Buddha experienced under the Bodhi tree. Well, this is what I have to say. So what I said today is just amazing, surprising, and I'm happy to find these two suttas in Pali Nikaya. Well, after this talk, we have a ceremony for Buddha's Enlightenment Day. Shodo-san came from Minnesota, and she has allergy against the incense. So today we don't use incense. So instead of incense, we offer the flower. So during the ceremony, I offer the flowers, and after the ceremony, all of us offer the flowers. And after the ceremony, we'll have a potluck lunch. So please stay if you can.